Hello, hello. I'm not going to play music because it gets copyright restricted when I play music. So I could probably do it on Rumble, but I can't do it on YouTube. And I have an important message today that I gave as a presentation to a group of patriots the other day. And it's something that I am trying to get the message out about. And it's again regarding the fourth turning, which I think I've talked about that before. But this is about taking action and what you can do to take action and make something happen in this chaos. And it's pretty easy. You'll be happy to hear that. It's very easy to do that. I've got my Let's Go Brandon shirt. Someone ripped the sticker off my truck the other day. I had a Let's Go Brandon sticker, and my friend, we're hanging out, and he leaves, and he says, "You should look at your back of your truck." I said, "What are you talking about?" Somebody had gone up and ripped off the sticker. Somebody jogging by or something got triggered. It's just so pathetic. I don't know how in the world do you think that makes a difference? It's just sad. But anyway, we're talking about. I think I might have even done my first broadcast about this, but football, because Tulsa is crazy about football. Every year around this time, college football comes in, high school football first, then college football, and then pro football, and everybody goes crazy about it. Flip phones. Check out my new phone. Yeah, I got a flip phone and the fourth turning. What is it? What is your problem? The cat talks to me now all the time. The longer you have a cat, the more they talk to you. So anyway, football is in session, boy, and I picked up a newspaper the other day, the Tulsa World, which is a terrible newspaper, but of course our sports section is fine. This is hilarious. They got a whole ad in here about a free press and how important it is to have a free press. The rest of this newspaper is propaganda and trash. But check this out. This is the section for high school football, okay, where they make their prediction. Look at all those high school football games. It's crazy. That's a lot of high schools that have hundreds of young men that play football and throw their bodies around in the air and battle on the gridiron. So, there's a lot of families here. Tulsa's full of families, and we have what? Come on. What? Well, come on in here. Oh, well. So it's just exciting to be in a town where there's a lot of that going on. We have a lot of in the hardware store. We have a lot of families that come in, and I always treat them with nothing but respect. I want to build I don't know if you remember the Perkins restaurant, but they had these wishing wells in the Perkins. So when you go to have breakfast there, you could pick out a toy or something from the wishing well. I want to build something like that and fill it with like goofy old toys and fun gadgets and things for kids. So flip phones. This costs me $30 a month from Patriot Mobile, and that ties into the fourth turning too. Here, what are you doing? Come here. Come here. This is Grace. This is my cat, Grace. She's an outdoor cat. And so she sometimes brings in crickets and bugs and plays with them until they're dead. Did you bring in a snake today? That was pretty weird. So she actually caught a cardinal once, and she went running in with the cardinal, and the cardinal was shrieking, making a terrible, terrible sound. And I said, get out of here. You're not bringing this cardinal in here. So she went outside, went under the porch, and 2 squirrels came and attacked her to free the cardinal. It was like Richard Attenborough was narrating, the cycle of life. But anyway, flip phone. So that's been interesting. I've bought a digital camera, so I'm back to taking digital photos again. I'm basically back to like 1997, where I have a digital camera and I take photos, and then I text my T9 texting, but mostly people just call me, which is nice. I don't really like texting. It's one thing I take an issue with Matt Walsh on is phone calls are better than texting, especially with employees, because a lot of times, subtleties are lost with texting, and people get the wrong idea when I'm texting them something. They'll think I'm being short or something, and it's like, no, I'm just trying to get this situation done or whatever it is. And family too. I mean, I'd rather talk to you. I'd rather talk to you every time. Like, even if it's just as simple as a phone call about picking something up at the store or something as small as that, I still prefer a phone call. And so one thing I'm noticing, though, as I go around with my flip phone, everyone looks at their phone all the time. Like, it's wild, like even my oldest employee at work will be sitting there waiting on a customer or waiting for something to happen or someone to walk in. And he's just always going like this, like every 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And I don't do that. This phone lasts 3 days on charge. Okay, so I'm never having to find a charger or obsess about finding a cube and gotta charge my phone, because you're always using it, right? So I don't use it anymore. And I swear to God, my eyesight is improving. I know that sounds outrageous, but I can just focus on things in the distance better than I could even just 2 weeks ago, because my 3-dimensional depth is not always impeded by this screen. So I recommend it. I would definitely recommend it. And plus, it's Patriot Mobile, who's, of course, coming under fire from the left, media retards. Which brings us to this, the fourth turning. So I have my copy. I picked it up the other day to take it to this meeting we had. So this book is a prophecy. That's what it's called. An American Prophecy. And it's a famous book written by 2 sociologists before sociology became the woke hive mind of lunatics, Strauss and Howe. And I've seen this book written. It's a famous book. The Blaze talks about it, and Glenn Beck talks about it, and InfoWars talks about it, and everybody talks about it. But I don't think they quite know what it means. And I spent some time with this book when I first got it, and I really dug down deep, and I had to find out what it meant, what the prophecy was, right? What is it? Why don't you just come on in here? And I found out what it was. And this leads to me pointing out that you can affect change. Okay, it's up to you to get this message and understand it and get it out there, because we can get through this. This is how we're going to get through this. Okay. Everything's in chaos. The Great Reset, Klaus Schwab, blah, 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 the New World Order, these Fourth Reich, all this stuff is all happening, and it's totally crazy. And it's amazing that everything's come true that I've been talking about. But I didn't quite get this until, so there's generational cycles, and every generation has its tendencies or traits, right? And it comes in, if you think of it as seasons. So my generation is Gen X. Our season was fall, okay? And what we're in now is winter. Winter is the crisis. Winter was World War II, and the GI generation was the hero generation of that era. What are you talking about? Come on over here. Sorry. So the hero generation was the GI generation, was the last hero generation, obviously, right? Winter. Then spring came and the silent generation came around, which is my parents. And what the silent generation had to do was rebuild everything. That the hero class of the GIs saved the day, okay? And the silent generation, my parents, had to rebuild everything that was lost. So the educational system, the college system, everything that the lost, and they're called lost because they're small, because they were born during wartime and there was no one around, and they're born during wartime. So, and it goes all the way back. They prove this over hundreds of years, and they even extrapolate it through generations of history all the way to the beginning. And it totally makes sense. This theory makes sense. So winter, spring, summer, fall. Summer, the boomers were summer, right? They frolicked, they had fun, they could do whatever they wanted. It was a great, gay old time, et cetera, right? The X is me, fall. The hero class that's going to get us through winter, okay, this current crisis that we're in, are the millennials. And when I told this group that, they laughed. And I understand why you laugh, right? Millennials, you think of a typical millennial and, they just sit around and code and play video games and sit in the basement and eat chicken tenders or whatever it is, right? But who are the millennial heroes? Interesting question. Who are the millennial heroes? Well, what is our biggest problem in our current crisis? What is the biggest problem in our current crisis? And as a journalist, I can tell you it's the media, okay? It's the media. The media is the biggest problem that we have, okay? The media is the virus, as InfoWars likes to say. So you need to support new media. That's what you can do. You can take, if you're an X, if you're a boomer, if you're silent, and you want to help out, the best way to do it is to support the new media. Like, we have to get rid of the media. We have to get rid of the biased, it's not even biased anymore. It's the narrative, right, that they're trying to write, that the Great Reset and climate change and all this stuff is trying to write. They've co-opted the media. So we need to support the new media. What is the new media? Well, I'll tell you who the new media is. The biggest millennial hero in my mind, okay, is this guy, Ben Shapiro. So if you don't have a subscription to the Daily Wire, the new media company he founded, you need to do that. If you're listening to me, go to whatisawoman.com, watch that very important film, and get a subscription to the Daily Wire. It's $100 a year or something like that. Okay. Everybody has to do it. Okay. We have to support the Daily Wire. I don't care what you think about Ben Shapiro, but Matt Walsh, what Matt Walsh did was got the Daily Wire in general, got Youngkin elected in Virginia. If it wasn't for the Daily Wire, Youngkin wouldn't be in Virginia. Who, I get it, he's a hedge fund creepy weirdo guy and wears cummerbunds or whatever. And I'm not saying, but what the worst, it was way worse what would have happened in Virginia. Way much catastrophically worse. And you know how many Daily Wires there are now? New media enterprises. Do you know how many there are? I don't have time to list them. That's how many there are. But like I showed this group, this paper, the Tulsa Beacon. They didn't even know there was a conservative newspaper here. So if you have a conservative newspaper, get a subscription to your local conservative newspaper. I just got this issue. I've talked about them before. WND.com, the original internet alternative news source. WND.com. Get a subscription to this. It's whatever, $4 a year. And this issue, Newspeak 2022, man, every article in here is fantastic. And I also like how it's in bigger print, so it's easier to read. What else can you get? You can get a subscription to the City Journal, okay, from the Manhattan Institute, where Heather McDonald works, and Christopher Rufo works here, and all these thinkers that are, School Choice Rising, etc. This article about the corruption of medicine will blow your mind. Okay, medicine is now getting social justicized. Medicine. That's not good. You can even, this is a great organization, of course, the John Birch Society, named after the first person who was killed by the communists. Their New American does great work. Some of it's kind of edgy or whatever, but who cares? We need new media. NewAmerican.com. Get a subscription. Get a John Birch Society subscription. Who else? VDare. Edgy, talks about race, and hey, look, we got to talk about it, right? Jason Whitlock on The Blaze, which is, the black broadcaster, this ex-sportscaster from ESPN, he talks about race. Everybody, we got to confront the fatherless, epidemic across all races, right? VDare is named after Virginia Dare, who was the first American killed by an illegal immigrant. Yeah, sorry, that's just how it is now. I go to IHateHarrys.com and buy Jeremy's Razors. This is the co-founder of the Wire, Daily Wire. He's got his own razor company. So we're building a alternative economy, right? IHateHarrys.com. Switch your razors up. Don't give money to people who hate you, as they say. I highly recommend Dissident Soaps. Dissident Soaps is out of Montana. Very based company out of Montana. If you follow them on Gab, you know how based they are, but great all natural soap and deodorant and cologne. So very, very, very fragrant. I get comments on how good I smell all the time. And yes, I've got my vitamin D from InfoWars called Winter Sun. And yes, I have my X2 Nacean iodine. You need Nacean iodine. It used to be in bread, and then it was too expensive, so they took it out of bread, but it helps your nervous system. The The Blaze TV. That's Allie Beth. That's Louder with Crowder. Both of them millennial heroes. I mean, the millennial hero. All of this are millennial heroes. Okay, all these journalists are millennial heroes. Andy Ngo, that wrote the book about Antifa, millennial hero. Who's this? Oh, look, it's Candace Owens. Guess what? Millennial hero. Yeah, Blaze TV. And more importantly, support the advertisers that advertise with these places. Okay, when Allie Beth Stuckey talks about goodranchers.com and gives you the promo code Allie, you go to goodranchers.com and you buy some meat. There's actually a great deal. You can buy a subscription to meat. So every month you get an order, and with Allie, you save on shipping and you lock in the price for your meat for a year. I mean, that's going to be great when inflation goes through the roof. The Blaze. The First is Bill O'Reilly's news channel. Okay, Silent Generation. Bill O'Reilly created a news channel and put a bunch of millennials on set. Mike Slater, Jesse Kelly, and some of these are borderline Xers, but I consider them all millennials. Maybe they're in the middle between a nomad and a hero, but the First has an app, and again, all their advertisers are crucial. Mike Slater is amazing on there. If you haven't seen him, he's like the Andrew Klavan of the First. He talks about religion and in a very powerful way. So anyway, that's what you got to do. You've got to be sure all your extra money is going to somehow to the millennial heroes, and they're going to get us through it because they're going to build the media that will tell the truth and do it in a way that has a biblical worldview. Okay, you don't have to believe all the whole thing if you don't want to, but if you don't believe that something happens after you die, you'll do whatever you want in this life, and you'll become filled with evil, and you don't want to do that. What are we at here? 2:22:42. What else am I missing out on? Oh, yeah, here we go. I think I've talked about this before. But this is the prophecy, right? The economy will be pushed to the breaking point. Prepare the youth. This is during the crisis. Treat children as the nation's highest priority, but don't do their work for them. Have you seen Turning Point USA? Have you seen the rallies that Turning Point USA has? Have you seen TexasYouthRally.com? I think it is. Yeah, those are the Zoomers. So the Zoomers are replacing the Silent Generation. The Silent Generation had to rebuild the institutions, and that's the Zoomers. And my nieces are Zoomers, and I'm very excited about the Zoomers. I mean, I got nothing but faith that the Zoomers are gonna help. New civic authority will have to take root. America's culture warriors need not worry whether values will return to public life. They always do in a fourth turning. With a vengeance, speeches will become public sermons. Schools will become civic churches. Art and motivational propaganda, those are memes. Okay? Go to patriots.win and you'll find links to all the new media websites that you need to support and give them your money. Red State is another one. Katie Pavlich, the incredibly attractive woman that comes on Fox, she started a website called Red State. Their entire network, Bearing Arms, Town Hall is where Julio Rosas was, who came out of Tucker Carlson's journalism school called the Daily Caller. So go give the Daily Caller some money. But the prophecy is wild, the actual prophecy. So preparing for the fourth turning. Okay, here we go. Zoomers. It says here that CD-ROMs will become important, which is pretty hilarious. They mean the internet, obviously, but CD-ROMs. Okay, here's a scenario that they predict in the fourth turning. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced the spread of a new communicable virus. The disease reaches densely populated areas, killing some. Congress enacts national quarantine measures. The president orders the National Guard to throw prophylactic cordons around unsafe neighborhoods. Mayors resist. Urban gangs battle suburban militias. Calls mount for the president to declare martial law. Well, we're into the first two sentences of that prophecy. The rest of that prophecy, it gets, pretty bad. And, that's one of 5 scenarios, but that's exactly what's happening. I mean, wild, huh? So they also say that if the crisis catalyst comes on schedule, it'll begin around 2005. I would say the media was completely disrupted by 2005. I mean, it was all 9/11 and all that psyop. I mean, the climax, get this, will be, I just can't get over this. The climax will be around 2020 and the resolution 2026. So we got 4 more years. Zoomers got to work. You're going to have to rebuild society. Sorry. And it's probably our fault. Gen X, the nomads, fall. We just wandered around, didn't raise any children really. Some of us did, but those are the Zoomers. And those are the Zoomers will rise and fix everything, or at least get back to the way things were. And it all comes down to the millennial heroes. Charlie Kirk, millennial hero. Real America's Voice. If you don't know that on Rumble, look up Real America's Voice on the alternative platform Rumble. RSBN, the Right Side Broadcasting Network, which started when it was covering Trump rallies, is now a full-fledged network. They've got journalists, they've got people doing stories, citizen journalists taking their phones and going and finding the story. Rumble is a great site. I mean, go to Rumble. War Room. I don't miss an episode of War Room with Steve Bannon. I try not to miss the War Room on InfoWars with Owen Schroyer, millennial hero. The whole news staff of InfoWars are all millennial heroes. I would even call Alex Jones a millennial. And I would even say Tucker Carlson's a millennial. But not really. I mean, they were Xers, but they trained the Zoomers and a bunch of millennials to get us out there. So go support them. And when, yes, indeed, My Pillow. I got all my pillows are My Pillow, man. Okay, and I'm about to get a subscription to My Coffee too. So let's go, Brandon. Support the millennial heroes. It's the fourth turning. I'm going home for Labor Day. I'm going to recruit for my fantasy team Tom Brady, because here's a prophecy for you. Tom Brady's definitely going to win the Super Bowl.